Hello and welcome. My name is John Thor and this is Thrower Overboard. You get a truth, and you get a truth, and you get a truth. In this video, I want to take a look at some definitions and things to illustrate how they've changed and how I think that's causing division in our political discourse and discourse as in general as a society, as a culture. A lot is attributed to the woke crowd. Woke is defined as alert to injustice in society, especially bad stuff. I'm going to try to attempt to avoid words that YouTube seems to not like, so we'll see how that goes. Words are very, very important. I think everyone agrees on that. Both sides of the political spectrum, no matter where you line up, words are important. But there is disagreement in how our words are important, in how they are valued, in what import they truly have. The right, center-right, and center-left even see words as having value and there being a need to protect the value of communication, the sharing of those ideas through words, the open exchange of ideas, of open dialogue, that is free speech. The far left, on the other hand, though, sees words as dangerous when deemed hateful, aka hate speech. And they seek to distort words themselves by co-opting existing words and changing their meaning. This is incredibly, incredibly dangerous and not at all helpful unless your aim is to cause confusion and to sow division. Because what ends up happening is you get people on different sides using the exact same words but meaning very different things, and at that point, you're not going to be able to find common ground and agree on anything. What hope is there to get along if you are speaking different languages, but don't know that you are speaking different languages? It's misleading. It's two ships passing in the night, except the two ships are firing cannons at each other. You think you are on common ground speaking the same things, but find yourselves having totally different conversations. And not knowing where you each stand is incredibly, incredibly infuriating. Think of arguments that you have had with you and a husband, wife, significant other, friend, family member. How many times, if you stop to think what the argument was over, and not something big, but otherwise menial things, how many times, if you stop and think about the argument afterwards, do you find that you can't figure out what it is that you were even arguing over? Why you were arguing? Why you were disagreeing? I mean, you seem to be arguing the same point, saying the same things, but the disconnect was in communication. And that disconnect in communication, it was the deadly force at play. As an illustration, you might be looking for something. It's like, hey, have you seen my shoes? Yeah, they're at the back of the room. They're not here. No, here. That's the front of the room, not the back. If you can't agree on where things stand, on what the pillars of truth are, on what definitions mean, you're not going to be able to communicate effectively. And that's going to lend itself to disagreement, to conflict, to division. Not knowing what the other person means just means that things get heated and further reflexive disagreement ensues. And that's with you speaking the same language, being in the same environment, and still there is trouble understanding one another. Changing definitions of existing words that people are already familiar with and know simply adds more fuel to the fire, another obstacle in the path of civil discourse. Without truth as a shared point of reference, everything is true and nothing is helpful. So let's consider just 3 words and how their meanings are being changed and why it is dangerous, starting with that word of truth. But first, don't forget to help me out by liking and subscribing. Truth is defined as that which is true or in accordance with fact or reality. It seems pretty clear-cut, and you would think everyone knows what truth is. We can all agree on that. That's a good starting point, except not everyone agrees with that definition of truth. It seems pretty clear-cut, but in schools and now even in workplaces, they are teaching your truth and my truth. I've had a number of educational training sessions indoctrination sessions that paints the picture of us each having a truth. We're like Oprah just handing out truth prizes. You get a truth, and you get a truth, and you get a truth. Ah, of course I'm on the show where we get truths. I wanted a new car. Except we already have a word for that. It's called an opinion. There is the truth, the factual state of things, of reality, and then there is your opinion and my opinion. And we can have personal subjective thoughts and feelings on all sorts of things, and those can be in conflict and can differ. We can have disagreements, but the common ground should be the facts, the truth that we try to base our opinions on. If we can't agree on the truth, and that's the starting point of our opinions, we're never going to find agreement. It really has become an expansion of the definition, such that it loses its original meaning. How can we agree on the truth if we don't agree on what truth is? Tolerance is defined as the ability or willingness to tolerate something, in particular, the existence of opinions or behaviors that one does not necessarily agree with. We tolerate things that we don't agree with. But what does that mean today? What has the definition become? It has come to mean that you must accept and must agree with others' points of view, particularly the ultra-progressives. If you don't agree, you get canceled. The definition has come to mean the exact opposite of the actual definition. Intolerance to differing ideas and opinions. No more your truth and my truth. What happened to that? Now there is only my truth, one truth, and no opinion. We're devolving and regressing. The scope of the word tolerance has been reduced to just physical tolerance. Tolerance of physical characteristics like skin color, and excluding tolerance of ideas, personalities, jokes, behaviors, things like your character. Equity is defined as the quality of being fair and impartial. But today it means equality of outcome. Truth was changing the meaning by expanding the definition. Tolerance was changing the meaning by decreasing the scope of the definition to the point of becoming its opposite. With equity, it's become a conflation with the word equality. Because everyone agrees on equality. That sounds good. That's nice. That's wonderful. Equality is defined as the state of being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities. That's a key word there. Being equal with opportunities. But equity piggybacks off of equality and then takes a sharp turn off the bridge, bringing about a similar sounding but completely different and very bad idea. Equality of outcome instead of opportunity. Because it is one or the other. You can't have both. You can either give everyone equal opportunities and allow free will to take its course, resulting in different people making different choices and as such, obtaining unequal outcomes. Or you can be unfair in the name of justice and hold some up more and hold others back, removing the free-flowing exchange of merits and rewards and force equal outcomes. Because they don't happen naturally, they would need to be enforced. And we find ourselves once again deviating from the original definition. Do you remember what that was? The quality of being fair and impartial? Fairness is defined as impartial and just treatment or behavior without favoritism or discrimination. That means there's no holding someone up and no holding others back. But for equality of outcome, that is exactly what must happen. For equality of outcomes to be enforced means that some individuals will get unjust advantages, be propped up, will receive favoritism. They cannot be treated impartially, and others will be held back, will be discriminated against to make sure that the right ratio, the right quota is met. I just want to throw out briefly a bonus word, hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is defined as the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. Rules for thee, but not for me. But what about today's definition? Don't worry about it. That word doesn't exist anymore. Hey, if you like this, don't forget to hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm still trying to find my niche, but I think as in general, culture is kind of my interest here, and so I'd like to look at more how our culture is affected by the different ideas and ideologies that are out there. And I have all sorts of interests, and so culture nicely fits a number of those, whether it's games and movies, whether it's politics. It really comes down to our society as a whole, and what kind of culture do we want here in the West. I hope you'll stick around for the journey.